my fellow wizards, the Harvest Festival event is currently running through the end of November, and you may have noticed that the holiday NPC Harvest Hannah is here in the shopping district of Wizard City to help everyone celebrate by offering a variety of cosmetic gear pieces, including hats, robes, boots, and wands to look the part for the harvest and Thanksgiving season, all for the cost of some crowns, of course. However, thankfully, you can actually get many of these pieces completely free if you're willing to put in a bit of time farming some bosses. So to get into the holiday spirit, I'm here to show you where every piece drops and which locations are going to be your best options for farming. Let's get started. First, let's take a look at everything that can be dropped while the Harvest Festival is active so you can decide what pieces you might be interested in farming for. There is, of course, the 3-piece Pilgrim set, including the hat, robes, and boots, which come in 2 different styles depending on if your wizard is a guy or girl. The feminine version is basically what Harvest Hannah herself is wearing with the white bonnet and black dress and shoes, whereas the masculine version has more of the typical Pilgrim-style hat along with a black coat and shoes. Do note that it looks like none of these items are dyeable. And unfortunately, while KI did make changes in recent years to allow players to buy the other gender style of clothing for holiday outfits like Halloween, where players of both genders can now buy either the witch or skeleton outfits, they have not yet extended this to the Harvest Festival gear, so you are stuck with the original gendered outfits, at least for now. Up next is the amazing turkey hat in all its glory. Yep, for those of you who want to go, all in, and I do mean all in, then this hat might be just the thing for you. Hey, at least you're pretty much guaranteed to be a finalist in any Ugly Stitch contest you enter, although I will say there is still some pretty stiff competition out there.
Fetch me their souls!
Up next is the headdress, and let's just say this definitely feels like a product of its time. Like if this got suddenly introduced to the game today, I have a feeling it could be a lot more controversial, so I'm just gonna move along. It's an option if you want it. Finally, we have a number of different wands which come in 3 different styles ranging in level from any level to level 95 and up. These wands come with a bunch of different names but are identical across the 3 style options, so I'm going to call them by their base level names throughout this video just to avoid confusion, but just note that each level bracket for the wands do have different names. First up is the Fall Wand, which has a really pretty red color with oval-shaped leaves, and I could honestly see a fire, balance, or even life wizard finding a good stitch for this year-round. Next is the Autumn Wand, which looks like it has some nice orange maple leaves instead, and I think this could work year-round for a stitch too if you wanted to lean into the whole nature vibe. The final wand style is the very appropriately named Corny Wand, and what can I say? It's literally a corn stalk, which definitely fits with the whole harvest theme, although I do kind of wish we had even more vegetable or food-themed wands. There's like the veggie missile in the crown shop, which I actually love, but currently there's no way to farm for it, and it costs over 6,000 crowns, so that's kind of a bummer. But I was thinking that they should totally do like a pie in the face wand, where the attack animation is just chucking a pie in the enemy's face. Like that would be such a fun, goofy holiday item, just saying.
Write that down, write that down!
Either way, it would be cool to see some new items brought to the event NPC, since many of them have had the same stuff for a number of years and could definitely use some updating. Anyway, back to the wands, I do want to add that they all come with life wand hits, which increase in damage depending on the level of the wand, but otherwise they don't really come with other stats except your starting pip. And unfortunately, after some testing, it does look like they all have the same standard wand casting animation, so no unique attack animations here. So where can you get all these pieces? Thankfully, for a lot of them, you can actually farm in the exact same locations. So right off the bat, let's start with Lord Nightshade, who can be found at the very end of Haunted Cave in Wizard City. He has a very low 690 health along with a minion, so if your wizard has even a basic 4-pip AoE ready to go, this guy should be a very easy farm. And he has been confirmed to drop basically all the gear pieces we've covered, the full Pilgrim set, turkey hat, headdress, and all 3 wands, so this is definitely an ideal place to farm for wizards of all different levels, which is awesome. I personally did about 50 farming runs on my max level storm just to see how common the drops were, and I was able to get 2 fall wands, a turkey hat, and then 2 other year-round crowns pieces, including the watchtower boots and jacket of withstanding. Obviously, these last 2 aren't actually Harvest Festival items, but it does show you can expect a crowns drop in general from him roughly every 10 fights or so, which is honestly not that bad, especially if you're able to one-shot him every run. And I do want to make a note for people here that you can be any level to farm these particular gear pieces, so you can literally farm any of the bosses on this list regardless of your level and you will still get the drops. This can be confusing to people because there are other farmable items like the Stormrider hair mount during the Easter event where level does matter for drops, but thankfully for all Harvest Festival items it does not matter, so you can just pick your favorite spot and farm away. Up next, we have the Jade Oni in the final fight in Mushu, who according to the wiki has a chance to drop the Pilgrim robe, although I suspect there's a good chance it also drops the other Pilgrim pieces too, the turkey hat, and then the level 35 plus versions of the 3 wands, and it's not 100% clear if it drops the headdress. The Jade Oni has 6,000 health but can be fairly easily one-shot on the first round at higher levels with a strong single hit like the Nova School spells, and thankfully does not have a minion to worry about. This can also be an incredibly quick farm because you can immediately respawn the Jade Oni after each fight using the lantern near the entrance, so you don't have to sit through the sigil timer over and over, although Death Wizards may have a harder time due to the Death Shield spam. I did about 20 runs of the Jade Oni just to experiment, and by the end I only had one Harvest Festival item, the level 35 plus version of the Corny Wand, although I did also get 2 school insignia gear hats, the Amethyst Blade Wand, and a whopping 5 Adept Socket Wrenches, so I was getting some other cool drops. It does look like this boss might be a little bit stingier with the holiday drops, but I could also just have had unlucky RNG here, though apparently this place is great if you need Adept Socket Wrenches, so that's nice. Moving on, we have Othin Stormfather, who is one of the final bosses in Ravenscar in Grizzleheim and can be fought in the Ravenscar Fortress. He's a storm boss, but is joined by 3 other bosses including Fire, Life, and Death, each with under 4,000 health. At higher levels, you can likely one-shot all of them on the first round with an AoE, but lower levels may struggle more to take all of them out in a timely fashion, so beware. It looks like only Othin Stormfather himself drops the Harvest Festival item, so you won't get extra drops here, but he is confirmed to drop the turkey hat and level 45 plus versions of the 3 wands. I ended up doing about 10 runs of this fight and did get the level 45 plus version of the Corny Wand along with a non-seasonal crowns hat and a massive 18 no auction school gear pieces, so it's looking like the holiday item drop rate here may be more in line with the Lord Nightshade drop rate, 1 in 10, but I need to do more runs to be sure. However, if you're looking for more of a challenge, there's 2 bosses in the Trial of the Spheres dungeon in Celestia that can drop more gear, Astraeus and Ptolemos. They can drop the level 55 plus versions of the wands, but aren't confirmed to drop the other gear pieces, and I gotta be honest, I really do not recommend farming here. Each run you have to complete numerous puzzles before you even get to the first boss fight with Astraeus, and then you have to complete 4 different mob fights to access Ptolemos, and each boss also has annoying cheats. Astraeus in particular actually summons extra mobs you have to deal with and keeps putting up a negative 90% tower shield. Like, you're just gonna have a bad time here and it's super slow to go through, so just avoid this one. Next is Mirror Lake, which is the final dungeon in Zafaria, and actually there are 3 bosses here that can drop you some Harvest Festival goodies. In the very first fight, Sneed Snaketail is confirmed to drop the turkey hat, headdress, and level 65 plus versions of the wands. The next fight with the Elephant Spectral Guardian can drop everything except potentially the Pilgrim hat, although I think it's likely he does drop it too, but just hasn't been officially documented. And finally, the last fight with the Starburst Spiders is confirmed to drop the wands and the Pilgrim hat and boots, although again, I think it's likely the robe drops here as well. And while this dungeon requires you to be a slightly higher level, I actually would recommend it as a good place for farming gear because there's 3 different fights with potential holiday drops, and it's a very popular farming location in general because you're guaranteed to get mega snacks at the end of each run, so you'll pretty much always have a full team available to help you through quickly. While you're farming for holiday drops, Mirror Lake also drops some other great items like energy gear that are quite useful, so it's overall a really solid farming spot in general. And for people who need more energy, I do have a separate guide on where to get the best free energy gear if you're interested. Moving forward, we have Yacate Firewalker, who is a boss in the final Jabalba dungeon in Azteca. Thankfully, this is literally the first boss fight right as you enter the dungeon, but it does have 3 minions to deal with and 18,000 health, so this is definitely not the easiest farm. And in addition, it's also known to spam Earthquake and various stun spells, so even at max level, this can be a tedious farm. Yacate is confirmed to drop the level 85 plus versions of the wands, but no other gear pieces, so I really don't recommend this one unless you're a collector or just a masochist. Finally is Cravenly the Hunter, all the way in the galleries at the end of Chrysalis, who is confirmed to drop the turkey hat and level 95 plus versions of the wands. Thankfully, he's the very first fight in this dungeon, but he does come with a lot of difficulty. Cravenly himself has over 20,000 health and is joined by another boss, Ghost Dog, who also has a ton of health. Ghost Dog then summons 2 minions you also have to deal with, and both bosses have several difficult cheats that can quickly whittle down your health even at max level. Considering their health, amount of cheats, and overall difficulty, I cannot recommend this as a quick or easy farming option, but this is the only known way to get the highest level versions of the wands for free. That being said, unless you're a collector, most players are honestly best off just getting any version of the wands for stitching purposes because the stats are basically non-existent, so it doesn't really matter what version you get as long as you get the appearance you want. There's also weird gaps in the wand level brackets that have no known drop sources like the level 15, 25, and 75 versions. The gear 2 is cosmetic only, so you're really just best off going for the easiest farm and not worrying about different leveled gear. So which of these farming spots do I most recommend? Honestly, Lord Nightshade is the most obvious choice, being an easy one-shot farm for most players, accessible at low levels, and is confirmed to drop all the Harvest Festival gear pieces at a reasonable rate, so you really cannot go wrong here. Put on a YouTube video or Netflix and just farm away until you get everything you want. It's literally that easy. However, I do want to throw out Jade Oni and Mirror Lake as other solid backup options if you're getting sick of Nightshade. Jade Oni drops some other valuable items like socket wrenches while having no minions and providing a very quick respawn, while Mirror Lake is a popular farming spot already, so you'll have a full team to help you. It has 3 bosses that drop holiday pieces, gives guaranteed mega snacks every run, and can even drop valuable pieces like energy gear too, so it's all about what your priorities are. Whatever you choose, I wish you the best of luck getting all the holiday pieces you want for your favorite harvest or Thanksgiving stitch, and just remember to get all your farming done by the end of the month when everything disappears until next year. Alright my fellow wizards, that was my guide to getting the exclusive Harvest Festival gear pieces for free. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing as it really does help me make more amazing Wiz content for you all, and if you want to support me and the channel further, you can hit the join button below to become one of my awesome channel members. As always, I hope to see you out there in the spiral, and happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrate.